So either leave a comment on YouTube or join the Discord, because once a week I will ask the question. First person to get the question right usually gets to pick the lore. I pick the lore this week. This week I want to do something fun, something that I can't believe I haven't done before, from my favorite game of all time, Fallout 3. It is Little Lamplight. Now, sometime during the late 1800s, the Lamplight caverns were discovered, and at some point during the 1920s, it was converted into a tourist trap. I love touristy traps like this, things that just exist because they exist, just because they're there. Now, because of this being in the vicinity that it is, and Vault Tech achieving ownership of the Lamplight Caverns, they wind up using part of it, as you may know if you've played Fallout 3, for Vault 87. And on October 23rd of 2077, 82 students, a couple of teachers, and a few parent chaperones were exploring on a field trip the Lamplight Caverns. Now, on the wiki, it says that they were down there for several hours. The bombs drop on the East Coast at 9:47. School doesn't start till about 7:38. I forget what time I was in school at growing up. Let's just say it's 8 o'clock. How were they there for several hours? Unless it was like a camping trip, but I wouldn't let my young, under the age of 13 children go on a camping trip without me for a school. So maybe there's just a small little oversight that got passed up. But they were exploring the caves, the students, 82 of them, some teachers and some parent chaperones, and then the ground began to shake. The lights go out, there's a bit of a commotion, and the kids are all worried, and a hurried panic. They try to find somebody to go say what's going on outside, and an employee investigates and tells them of the attack, the Great War, the bombing. The bombs have fallen. We are now in a post-war society at this point. All of the adults have either died or they left, and others just became severely injured within the Lamplight Caverns. There was a teacher by the name of Carrie Delaney, being one of the last adults decided to go scavenge and just never came back. A little while later, Jason Grant, one of the older kids, assumed the position of mayor. This Lord of the Flies situation occurs. I'm very curious by this, because I think it's inevitable that no matter the age, whether they were 12, 24, 32... 35, 65, 75, 206, no matter what, I think it's human nature that someone just, shows up and is like, hey, look at me, I'm in charge now. And I think that's neat that a 15-year-old, I'm assuming is an older kid, just kind of was like, I'm in charge. That's it. I'm in charge. Someone needs to be in charge. I'm in charge. I will take care of you. I will take you to the promised land. Now, under the mayorship of Jason Grant, they explored the caves for months and wound up finding Vault 87's door, and they banged on it for hours, begging and pleading for help. Mind you, Vault 87 is an FEV experimentation vault. This is quite literally within the year that the bombs drop. Assumably. It's not said when exactly, but I'm assuming it's within the first year of the bombs falling. This adult that's in there, Peter Stevens, most likely Peter Stevens, is believed to be the man by the door, heard this. Peter Stevens is a vault technician who believed himself to be hallucinating, and he thought it was his dead son, hallucinations of his own dead son, and he kept going, go away, you're already dead, you're already dead, you're already dead. That is so... I love how grim and bleak that is, the idea of these kids pounding on the door going, let us in, let us in, let us in, we want to live. We're scared, and we're hungry and afraid, and we don't know what we're doing, we're children. And this adult man who they were trying to get the help of going, stop, you're already dead. Thinking it's hallucinations of his child. When this game wants to get bleak, it gets bleak in the best ways. Because of this one act, because of this one misunderstanding of an adult and some children, the children of the Lamplight Caverns, later to become Little Lamplight, developed a severe hatred for all mungos, or adults, to the point where at the age of 16, all adults, or mungos, are told to leave for Big Town to find themselves a better life. Now, one of my favorite things about this is that it's a civilization that has to progress. So, there are children that are there. How they're getting there, I'm assuming, actually, now that I think about it, damn, this has, never been brought to my attention. How are these kids, repopulating Little Lamplight? This has just come to me now. I'm checking the wiki. Are the people of Big Town, are the giant children of Big Town breeding? And, if they are, they only have one doctor, and that one doctor, I can only imagine, has read, half of a Doc McStuffins book, and that's all their medical knowledge? I don't know why the hell this never occurred to me that they would, for a society to further, they would need. But, I mean, you can send Brian Wilkes there after the event of those. If you could either send him to Rivet City or you could send him to Little Lamplight. I mean, I guess there'd be kids that just find themselves there. But also, kids are prime slaving targets. I'm pretty sure when you first get there, it's either a scripted event or it just happens as a random occurrence where there's a slaver outside putting a slave collar on a child. All of that to be said, there is one child in Little Lamplight named Joseph who teaches the others classes with holotapes that scavengers have brought back from the wastes. Some of those include reading, basic math, and vault encyclopedias, so they can research many a thing. And I think that's super neat because I always think that, especially with New Vegas, it's hey, these people don't know how to read and you want them to pay tax? For real? Okay. And now it's just well, these kids know how to read, so they already have a step up. They're already 2 steps ahead of pretty much any raider or any moron with a gun and a stake of some land. I don't usually talk about the loot in some of these areas, but one of my favorite weapons in the entire game that only gets better because of the pit is here. Billy has the Wazer Rifle, one of my favorite weapons. I'm just looking at it real quick because I'm never going to get a real chance to talk about this again. It's not an AER-9 laser rifle, it's an AER-12. It shoots multiple beams. It's one of my favorites. It's essentially a shotgun, but it's a laser rifle. And then the metal blaster shows up from the pit, making it a little bit better. And then, they have the tri-beams and whatever that show up later, but this was, the first initial showing of the Wazer Rifle. Before the pit, this was, one of my go-to. Before the metal blaster of the pit, this was one of my go-to weapons. I mean, honestly, sorry, I never get a chance to talk about weapons. Maybe I'll do a lore segment on just some cool weapons. So, just some quick notes before we get out of here. If the Lone Wanderer has the Child at Heart perk, they may play an impromptu game of tag with some of the unnamed Little Lamplighters. When engaged in dialogue, the Lamplighters will say, "Try to catch me, new kid," and run away. When caught and selected or talked to, they'll say things like, "That didn't count," or "Man, now I'm in." The Child at Heart perk can also grant you access into the caverns instead of having to go through the normal way. The children, this is one of my favorite things, the children do not mind if the Lone Wanderer kills Sticky during his going away party, and some of them remark to do it again. If you were playing Fallout 3 and looking up videos in 2008 and 2009, there was a series of videos called The Annoying Man, and it was Sticky. And it was just edits of Sticky and a Lone Wanderer walking and him just not shutting up. And Lone Wanderer, turning around and punching him as hard as he can. And I remember these videos so vividly that, the dude who does the voice acting for Sticky, I don't even know his name is Sticky, I know his name is The Annoying Man. The guy who does the voice of that actually did political campaign commercials for a candidate in Colorado recently, and I hear the voice and I'm just that's The Annoying Man. It's so his voice is so ingrained into my head. And this is another thing I just love about this game, and how they treat the children. If the player character has bad karma, a few Little Lamplighters will say the Wanderer is so bad because their mom didn't love them. Beautiful. Some kids mention sending raiding parties into the vault, but several doors are still locked. So maybe that's just like them not thinking about, hey, let's take all the loot out or whatever, but also just kids lie constantly. It's possible for some reason to encounter Mr. Crowley in Little Lamplight. I would love to know how. I wonder if it's just a glitch. I think it's a glitch. Like, I don't think there's anything else about it. Right here in the notes, the question of how Little Lamplight's population of children is replenished is left unaddressed. Cool. That's about everything I have for you. I think that's going to be the lore for you. It's one of the best, just neatest, fun little pieces from Fallout 3, let alone any other Fallout. I love it. I love it very much. I remember the first time I found it. And then McCready, the dude who's in charge of Little Lamplight, is just a reference. He himself is a reference to Kurt Russell from The Thing. I love The Thing. I love Fallout 3. And I love you. Thanks for watching. That, my friends, is this week's lore.
Hey, hi, it's Vince. I hope you enjoyed that video you just watched. If you'd like to support in any sort of way, in the description below there's links to my Twitter, the show's Twitter, and the Patreon. You could support at any level, and you could be on screen like some of the names are currently. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching, and if you get a chance, check out another one of my videos. I'd really appreciate it. Share it with a friend. Cool. I'll see you guys later. Be safe. I love you. Bye.